Welcome back, guys. So today the American Revolution is about to kick off. But before we get to the revolution itself, let's review what has gone on thus far. So, first thing that happens, the British action is the Proclamation of 1763. Remember, prior to this is the French and Indian War. So, Proclamation 1763, Britain says you cannot go past the Appalachian Mountains. Do not go past that. We're tired of defending you in these battles and fights against Native Americans. So, colonists get really, really mad. All right? Therefore, feeling that it's costing them money. So then, if my clicker would work, the Sugar Act takes place. We're putting a tax on sugar. Colonial response, we start smuggling. We start just getting one way or the other, we're going to sneak sugar into the colonies, again, therefore costing the colonists, saving the colonists money, and costing Great Britain money. So then, you get the Stamp Act and the Quartering Act. The British put stamps or taxes on all paper goods. And not only that, they send soldiers to the colonies, and the colonies have to house these soldiers in their homes without say or even being asked, in an effort to help stop smuggling. And so what you get is the Stamp Act Congress and the Sons of Liberty come together to begin discussing various and different types of protests. Again, more money being cost to the colony. So then the Townshend Acts take place, taxes on various things, various goods, many, many resources. More boycotts emerge. We're no longer buying British goods, hoping that it costs Britain money. And then you also see the Daughters of Liberty take place, where females come to power. And this is important because these boycotts of British goods, back in this time period, women were the ones in the homes. Women were the homemakers. And so those going to shops and buying goods are females. So in order for these protests and these boycotts to really take place, the women are the ones that are finding different things to purchase. Then you have the Boston Massacre. And the result of that is the Committee of Correspondence. The colonists get together, decide what are we going to do. Colonists were just killed by the British, including the first quote-unquote American to die, a black man by the name of Crispus Attucks. And they feel that this outrage is again centered around money. Britain wants more of it. The colonists, again, are just arguing for representation. We just want to be represented in government. You get the Tea Act. They take away everything from the Townshend Acts except tea. The response, the Boston Tea Party, the colonists dress up as Native Americans, go throw all of the tea into the harbor. Last are the Intolerable Acts. Nothing can come into Boston until the colonies pay for all of that tea. And what you get is the first Continental Congress that comes together, ultimately leading to the Second Continental Congress, which is where we left off. Again, the idea being Britain wants more money. The colonists feel like that money should not come at their expense. And so what do you get? Pow! You get war. All right, so the Second Continental Congress. We talked about this in the last video. Just a brief overview. The Second Continental Congress comes together. They extend the Olive Branch Petition. Again, this is a peace treaty of sorts. Essentially saying, hey, look, man, you were really mean to us. That was not nice what you did. We didn't like the taxes, but we're willing to put it all behind us. If we can just have peace, let bygones be bygones, everything's good. King George feels that it's not good. Whoever speaks out against him is a traitor and therefore should be treated as a treasonous. And he calls them rebels. He literally tears the Olive Branch Petition up. And so Patrick Henry emerges. He's an orator, a man who's really good at giving speeches, commanding groups. And he gives the famous line, give me liberty or give me death. Being under the control and under the thumb of Great Britain is unfair to the colonists. He does not want to live in this way or in this manner. All right, and so the Second Continental Army is also created at the Continental Congress. After Patrick Henry's stirring speech, people start to say, all right, look, maybe we should be prepared just in case. And so they create the Second Continental Army. They realize that the militias aren't necessarily the best option. Maybe we do need to have a trained professional army. Again, just in case. The militias didn't work out so good at Lexington and Concord. So they select General George Washington, a general who had gained fame in the French and Indian War. Secondly, he was from the South, which is where most of your people that did not support fighting back against the British lived. They believed if we can get Washington, we select a Southern general, we will help get Southern support for this. And so he organizes all of these militias into one official professional army. And so what you have is the first battle that takes place for the Continental Army is the battle at Bunker Hill. All of these these militias have come together to create a professional army, and they set up at the top of the hill, knowing that in order for the British to get to them, they must climb that hill. They are shorter on ammo, they have fewer men than the British, and so the militia was told, do not shoot at the British until you can see the whites in their eyes. They wanted to make sure that if they shot, they did not miss. Because again, they're low on ammo. They can't afford to miss. On top of that, the fact that they were shooting down gives them an advantage. It's harder to shoot up at a higher target than it is to shoot down on one. So they have the advantage. The Redcoats, which again was a nickname for the British military, charged the hill. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. They are eventually able to capture Bunker Hill. But what this battle proves is that the militiamen, who are now a professional trained army under the control of Washington, will be a formidable opponent. It will not be as simple to just wipe through the colonies and wipe out all of their militia army groups. And so the Battle of Bunker Hill is lost, but it's a moral victory for the colonists. They were able to hang in there. They were able to fight. They were able to hold off the British. Twice, it was that third and final time where they were just kind of overwhelmed and forced to retreat. But with less ammunition and fewer people than the British, the fact that it took 3 attempts proved that the colonies could fight against this big, bad, powerful, strong superpower that is Great Britain. I don't know why my keyboard's not working. So after that, Thomas Paine comes about. He writes a pamphlet called Common Sense. He's a philosopher. He's a thinker. Grew up in the Enlightenment time period. And he believes that trying to obtain independence from Great Britain is, in fact, common sense. He said all Americans or colonists should support it. It's no reason to believe that it should remain under British control in the way that it is now. He even says that it is crazy, the idea that an island, which would be Great Britain, had full and total control over an entire continent, which was the New World here in the Americas. And so Paine starts to distribute these pamphlets, these books out. All the profits he makes off this book, and Common Sense becomes a very well-distributed, a much-wanted pamphlet and booklet. He takes all the money, all the profits that he makes, and he gives it to the war costs, therefore helping the colonists and the soldiers economically. Another individual that is prominent and important going into the revolution is Benjamin Franklin, a man from Pennsylvania. We've heard from Benjamin Franklin before. He's sent to France. Franklin's job is real simple. Ben, go to France. Convince the French to help us. Nobody hates Great Britain more than the French do, especially at this time. And so, if he can convince the French to team up with the colonists, it all of a sudden evens out that numbers advantage, and it puts a professional army with many, many more years of experience to fight back against this big, bad, powerful army. Now, bonus question. Where have we seen Benjamin Franklin or heard of Benjamin Franklin prior to this? What is he known for? And the answer, the Albany Plan. He was the one who said, look, the colonies have to join together or they will fail. If we don't join or die. He had the snake. It was cut up. If we don't join up, we're going to die. Things are not going to go well. He proves to be right. He proves to be right because the fact that they did not join together the first time led to all of these consequences following. But he goes to France, garners their support, able to get French support going into this conflict. Abigail Adams, she's a female. She's the wife of the second president of the United States, John Adams. And she writes a letter titled, Remember the Ladies. Abigail Adams urges and pleads with her husband to convince the founding fathers to support and remember the women and extend these rights that they're fighting for. Because at this time, these rights are being fought for men, specifically white men, white Christian men. These are the rights that they are fighting for. And Abigail Adams says, please remember the ladies. Remember that these protests, these boycotts would not be as successful without the ladies here in the colonies. We are going to look at this letter that she writes. But Abigail Adams becomes a leader in the women's rights movement very, very early on, even before the revolution actually takes place. But here was the big one. Bunker Hill, Lexington, Concord, the colonists had had enough. That was it. They didn't want to deal with it anymore. They write the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence comes about and it's drafted by Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and Thomas Jefferson, the main author being Jefferson himself, who actually wrote the first copy, the rough draft. And it declares independence in 1776. This is not an easy decision for the colonists. They discuss it for a month. A month, they go back and forth on, is this really what we want? Is this the best idea? Can we be successful at this? Et cetera, et cetera. On July 2nd, 12 of the 13 states decide to and vote for independence from Britain. New York doesn't vote against it. They just choose not to vote. So they wait and they discuss 2 more days. And then finally, July 4th, 1776, the 13 states unanimously approve to become the United States of America. The United States is born, hence why we celebrate July 4th as Independence Day. In the King George's eyes, this is treasonous. This is reason to fight back and to go to war. And so you can see it was penned, it was signed by all the people involved, detailing what exactly the colonists took issue with. Now, this is where we're going to stop. Our next lesson and video, we're going to go more in depth into the Declaration of Independence. We're going to look at each individual portion. We're going to look at what happened, what they were fighting for. What does this document really, really say? But for now, the war has started. The war has started. The Americans doubled down on it with this Declaration of Independence. The war had already technically started with battles at Lexington, Concord, and Bunker Hill. But now, they put it on paper. Enough's enough. We're ready to fight back for our independence from you, King George. And the American Revolution has started. So, moving forward, we're going to look at the Declaration of Independence, what exactly it says, what reasons were we fighting, and can we tie everything it says to previous events. But for now, you have an assignment on Canvas. If you have any questions, again, reach out to me. As always, have a great day.